Hi everyone, we're going to do something a little bit different this week in our computing. Rather than doing coding, I'm going to show you another part of Google Classroom and one of the tools. So we've used Google Docs and we've used Google Slides, but something we haven't used is something called Google Sites. Now, depending on what device you're using, you can get to this in different ways. You might find a little waffle at the top here, this 9 squares, and you might find Google Sites in here. There it is. You might not find it there, and if you can't find it anywhere else, then the best thing to do is to open a new tab or open up your Safari or whatever it is you use, if whatever device you're using, and just kind of type in sites, SITES. And once that search has gone through, you'll see that there's a link that says Google Sites Sign In. So we click on there, and that will take you to a window that looks a little bit like Google Drive. And so to create a new website, you'll find there's nothing down here for yours, but if we click on this blank button here, it will take you to a new website. Okay. Now, what you're going to do on this new website is you're going to create your own learning log. So I'm going to show you the one that I've started to work on here, and I'll show you through some of the tools that you can use on your learning log. The idea of a learning log is that you really get a chance to record the kind of things that you've been doing during lockdown. It could be anything. It doesn't have to just be the schoolwork. It could be other things and bits and pieces. So I've had a little think about some of the things that I've been doing. Some of the things I've been learning. I've been trying to learn some magic tricks. I've been trying to do a little bit more with my health and fitness. I've done a few DIY projects in the garden. And so not just the school stuff that I've been doing, but also what else have I been learning? And I'm creating it into different pages. So if you look on here, I can click on remote learning and homeschooling, music. That's not got much on there yet. Like a video of myself doing some of my magic tricks. A bit about the art that I've done. I did a little bit of drawing earlier on. Computer design, so that's about computer games. So some of the Scratch projects that I've been making with you, we can put them in, and anything that we've actually done, you can record and put in here. You can see some of my wonderful garden creations when I've developed this a bit more. I actually wrote this quite early on because I was going to do this earlier with you. So this sounds a little bit like 3 months ago. It's because that's when I wrote it. Anyway, I can leave you. You can pause the video and have a little read of that. You'll see that I've tried to get a bit of a chatty style. It's quite informal, but I am also making sure that the sentences are making sense, and I'm thinking about, trying to entertain the reader at the same time as inform them. So you'll see that really anything on here, there are an awful lot of bits and pieces that you can click on. So if I clicked on here, I could change the title of my website. If I click over here, I can change the picture. I can upload a picture off my iPad or my iPhone or Android device or desktop computer, anything at all. You can just upload your pictures there. And it looks very similar to how you've done things in the past. When you click on upload, it will take you to all the different things that you can get off your hard drive. In terms of adding extra information onto your work, then all you need to do is, in fact, I think what I'll do is I'm going to show you from scratch so that you can see. Trying to find where to pause this. I'll start a new one and then you can see from there. Okay, so I've started a completely blank one. So I went to, excuse me, I went to Google Sites and went to that plus button, and this is what it looks like to start with. So first of all, you're going to want to call it your name. Stick just to your first name, and don't use both of your names. So that's my first name. So Mr's site, and over here you can call it whatever you want. Your learning log, learning diary. Okay, and you could change the picture over here like I showed you before. But how do we add content? Well, actually, it's all over here. Everything that we can add is all over here. And you'll see there's 3 choices. We've got insert, pages, and themes. And maybe at the beginning, the first one you want to look at is themes, to try and think about how you want to set your website out. There aren't a huge amount of choices, but in a way that makes it, I think, a little bit easier. You don't spend hours trying to find the right one. So look for the text that you quite like the look of. Have a little play. I think that's the one I've just used, isn't it, in that other site? So I think I'll just choose this one, and you can also change the color scheme. I'm going to have a particularly awful garish yellow. That's nice. Okay. Now, how do we add other things? Well, first thing you might want to do is start with your introduction of who you are and what you're about. So if we click on insert text box, you'll see that straight away a text box arrives here that you can add all your text in. Okay. And once you've introduced maybe yourself, think again. At the moment, this website is completely closed off to anybody else. So we're not going to be clicking this publish button yet. Okay. That means that you just need to be a little bit mindful about those e-safety rules when you're working on this. Think about giving him some information, but not so much information that actually you could be identified properly. I'd like you to leave images of yourself off. And if you want to put some pictures on, but definitely you can take some pictures of some of the things you've been doing or with your hands or whatever, showing something, then that's obviously fine. I think otherwise, I think we just kind of just think a little bit safe. Later on, I'm going to show you how to publish this though in a way that only people in our class can see. So actually you can share yours, but I still think it's a really good bit of practice, even though it's fairly safe. That we try and imagine that this is going out to the whole world. So we just need to be a little bit careful about the information that we put on there. So bear that in mind in your e-safety smart targets as you're thinking about that. Okay, but we're also going to avoid this publish button here, otherwise it goes out onto the internet. Okay, if you do click it, we can unclick it, so it's not a big deal, but just try and avoid publishing your website for the moment. Okay, now once you've added your text, and maybe you want to make some of it bold, maybe you want to add some hyperlinks to other things. We'll learn about that in a minute. You can also change the color, I think. Oh, maybe you can't. Oh, it's over here, isn't it? So you can change and have, oh, I see, so it changes the background color as well. Ugh, that's horrible, but never mind, let's leave it. Other things we can add here are images. So you might want to select an image. Now, I went to select there, and you'll see that sometimes you might want to just look for a general image that you can use. So you are particularly talking about your new puppy. And so you want to find a puppy that looks a bit like your puppy, and that looks just like the puppy that I haven't got. If I insert it, you'll see what happens. It goes there. We can then adjust it. We can move where it goes to other parts of the side, and we could maybe put some text on this side. So if you look, we can add another text box, and we can drag that text box up here, he says. There we go. Have a little play around, and now I've got a text box here, and we can add the image, or maybe you could have put that image up the top up here, change its size to something. So there's lots of flexibility on what you can do. Okay. Now you'll see if you went back to my website at the beginning, which is here, that we've also got lots of different bits at the top here which you can click on to take you to different pages. One about remote learning, one about homeschooling, one about music, magic, art, DT, etc. So what we do here is we create different pages. So rather than the insert here, we're going to go to pages. And you'll see at the moment, the only page I've got is home, but there's an add button down here. And if I add, I can think about some of the different things I've been learning. Now you might want to break it down into maths, 11 plus for those who are doing it, English, and you could have each one for a subject. But maybe if you were Sophie, because I've been learning about Sophie's new bat today. Sophie in my class has rescued a bat, so it could be all about bat care, and she could put on all about this little adventure she's having. I know that Evie in my class the other week went to Dunham Park and found some antlers, so she might want a bit all about her antler adventures, which is great. Okay, I know that Milosh in my class has been doing loads of work on Scratch, so it could be Scratch projects. So whatever it is for you, really, that are the things that you're doing. Maybe you've been someone who's super committed to doing some Joe Wicks exercise in the morning, every morning, and you could maybe take some photos of the back of you doing that, or show some of the exercises, or maybe put a link on to Joe. I don't know, there's lots of things you could do that are kind of going to be able to be a bit of a record on the stuff that you've been doing. You'll see here there's also some different layouts, and this is a really good tool. So I've created 4 different projects here. So I'm going to click on this one with 4 different windows. And you'll see what happens here is it creates a box with 4 different windows. Now, if I click on here, I could upload an image or find an image off the internet. So I'm going to go to select image and Google image search. And I'm going to put in bat, and I'm hoping, yes, it'll find me a picture of a bat. Choose one I like, click on insert, and then I'm going to write here, actually, I'm not going to write anything because I'm going to do something else. I'm going to click on here and go to the link button, and I'm going to insert the page link to Batcare, which is the one up here. So when I click on Batcare, you'll see it says Batcare and page Batcare is the link. If I click apply now when I click on this, it will go to my Bat, but actually when I click on it, nothing happens, but this comes up, and that's because we're in edit mode. If we want to be in view mode, we have to go up to this button up here that says preview. And then when I click on Batcare now, it'll take me to the Batcare page, which of course I've not written yet. Okay. And if I want to go back out again, I think I click on this cross here. That's it, it's back in edit mode. So, let's go back to the main page. So what would be quite nice is an introduction. Oh, hang on, I think to have put that as a bit in somewhere different. Where have I put it? I put it in Scratch Projects when it really should be on the home page, shouldn't it? Okay, so maybe you'd have the introduction here, and then underneath here, you could then have this 4 links. So here I could introduce different things, and then down here I could have that on here. Maybe I could do this on this one. So I've got quite a lot of different links going on here. So I could insert a new one. What's my first thing? It's about remote learning. What's this about? This is about teachers doing different bits and doing the book that I'd read, which was really fun, and I've been making the Scratch projects. So just thinking about some of the things that I've done. Now I could also include some links on here as well. If you look down here, there's all these different things that you can add to your work. So we've got YouTube there. So I could actually link to a YouTube, one of my YouTube pages. So I'd have to open up a new link. I'd have to find the YouTube links that we've made. So Mr. Heap YouTube, my videos. My internet is so slow. Take this one, find the URL, copy it, and then if I just go back to, where are we? Ooh. Let's just that's that. Shush me. Where was I? Sorry about that. And then if I paste in that link, what it will do is if I first search for it, it's a bit funny the way you do this, it will then find it, and then you have to say, yes, that's the one I want, select. And you'll see it'll actually embed that video into my work, okay? And I can choose the size again, choose how it was, and then I could maybe put some text over here to say, here's an example. So that's how you add YouTube videos. You can also add in different buttons. So have a play with some of these things. You can add in a map. So if you've been, actually, I'm just thinking, I know that Matthew is doing a 1 mile challenge at the moment in my class. So he's running a mile every single day, I think, Matthew, is that right? And he's raising loads of money. So he could put in maybe a map here and show the route that he's been doing on his map. Now, straight away now I'm thinking a little bit of an e-safety question, but maybe we could find a way of just sort of showing the general area that you've been doing that map, because you don't want to be giving away where you live on a public website, do you? Other things, Google Forms. Some people had to play with a Google form. That's where you can create your own quiz. So maybe on the last page here, when people have read it, you could make your own quiz about you. There's loads. This is going to be a really big project that you can work on over the next few weeks. Okay. So, is there anything else I want to show you on here? Let me just have a quick check. Embed is where you can get an embed code. Some websites will allow you to get embed codes where you copy and paste a big piece of code here. I know there's some websites that you might like where you make little avatars of yourself, and sometimes you get embed codes on those. I'm trying to think about some that I've used in the past. It'll come to me. Maybe I'll show you that in another week. But in the meantime, have a go at creating your own website. Now, one thing I'd also say, if you want to do something bonus, a bonus job, then you've also got this, which is where you can collaborate with other people in your class or in the other class in year 5, and you can actually make your own website together. Now, I would like you to make one of these, okay? So if you want to do an extra website, then what you could maybe do is, again, open up a new one. And then you're going to share with that share button. So slow. And maybe you'll want to do one all about Scratch projects. Thinking of Milosh is trying to get groups together, or maybe you are someone who is massively into the greatest football team on the planet, or maybe it's something else you are particularly into, making things in Minecraft, or perhaps you are really quite creative and you want a place to create like an art gallery where you and your friends can share their art by adding photographs. And all you do is just click on here. And then at the moment, this belongs to me. But if you start typing somebody's name, so let's start writing Amelia, because she's just there, Amelia Baldwin. It will come with her name. If I click on Amelia there, make sure that it says she's an editor, because I want her to be able to work on this as well. Yeah. And then I've not named the site, which I should have done up here. And then if I click on send there, both me and Amelia can work on this project together. So this is a really good way of sharing your work with me so that I can see what you're doing. So if you start typing in my name or Mrs. Coates and Mrs. Boo's name, okay, if you put my name in there, I'm sure I'll do that. And if you make me editor or publish viewer, that means I can just see it. I can't actually write on it. Then that's a good way of sharing your work with me on this. So have some fun with this, and later on, like I say, we'll learn how to share these with other people so that they can view them within our team, but not out on the internet. Okay. So have fun with that, and I'll see how you're getting on next week. Okay, I'll show you some more nifty tricks. Okay.